ever wondered why some people get their papers done so quickly, yet you take 6 months to a year to complete your manuscript? Hi, this is Dr. Gia, and today I'm going to talk about the number one thing that will slow your progress and how to overcome them so that you can get your papers out fast. So, question for you. How much time does it take for a manuscript to be completed? Some of you may say 6 months, 3 months, a year, but if you think about it, is it really 6 months though? Or is it several weeks of work spread out over a 6-month period? Every time work on a manuscript pauses, the lost time counts as dead space. So when do we get dead space? 1, during busy periods. 2, when you're waiting for others. And 3, when others are waiting for you. Okay, let's start with busy periods. So all of us have busy periods in our lives. So it could be being in a hospital service, taking vacation, taking time off to go for conferences. So it's understandable that during those periods you can't put full effort into your paper or research project. But the problem compounds when you have 4 or 5 collaborators and everybody has a different busy period. So it is so frustrating when you send out your first draft to your collaborators and you get that out of office message that, oh, I'm on vacation and will only be back 3 weeks later. Or they are busy writing a grant and can't respond to you. So now everything is a standstill. So the next thing is waiting for others. So there is so much waiting around in research. We can start from waiting for the IRB or ethics committee to give approval, waiting for the data set to come, waiting for the data analysis, waiting for your statistician to run the analysis, waiting for your co-authors to review and edit your paper. So there's so much waiting around. It is really important to anticipate when these times will happen. And we'll talk about strategies later. Then the third reason where you get dead space is when others are waiting for you. Now, this is a time when you are the rate limiting step. That means the task or the project is not going to move forward unless you do this task. These tasks can be big tasks or small tasks. Some of the big tasks include you have to run the analysis, or you have to write the first draft first. Or sometimes it could be smaller tasks, such as need to clarify a few questions asked by the IRB board. Or you need to confirm the variables asked by your statistician so that she can start running the analysis. So now you know that you have to do that, but you're not doing it. And this typically happens when you're overwhelmed, pulled in too many directions, or maybe the task seems too tedious or boring for you. Now, how do you overcome dead space? The general advice is to be proactive rather than be reactive. Let me break it down for you. So let's talk about the first one, busy periods. Take 15 to 30 minutes and look at your schedule for the next quarter. See when you are on service, when you are taking vacation, when do you need to plan for your conference. And when you do that, map it out. The next step is to email your collaborators, letting them know that you want to map out the research timeline and the writing timeline. Ask them when their busy periods are. Now you can map out to see when everybody's available and when everybody's busy. Now you can even reverse engineer it and say, I need to have my first draft ready by this time, so my data analysis has to be ready by this time. And now you have real deadlines to work with. This simple step will allow you to plan better and avoid disappointment. And when you plan it this way, you actually get a bonus effect out of this. That is, you are naturally seen as the leader of the project, and it cements your position as the first author and leader. Okay, the next dead space, waiting for others. The first thing you want to do is anticipate the times where you have to wait for others. And typically, these are times where you have to wait for approval, waiting for data analysis, and waiting for your co-authors to review and edit the paper. The third step is to have a bucket of tasks ready for this period. And these tasks must not be dependent on others. For example, after sending your final draft to your co-authors, they will typically take about a week to review and edit. So during that time, go to the author submission site, download all the documents required for submission, make sure the checklists are filled out, put the names and affiliation, write the cover letter. These tasks may seem menial to you, but trust me, it takes a few hours to do so. So by the time everybody is happy with the final version, all you need to do is upload your final manuscript and click submit. I know conducting research is an overwhelming process, so I made the Idea to Paper blueprint for you. This blueprint takes you through a 7-step process from idea generation to paper submission. So be sure to click on the link below to get a copy of it. The third reason for dead space: others are waiting for you. As I said earlier, these are tasks that you've been putting off and everybody's waiting for you to move ahead. So how you handle this, it depends on the size of the task. So for example, if it is a big task, you may have to break it down and look at the step before the step. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have your data ready, but you want to discuss with your co-authors before you start outlining the paper. So the next step is not really discuss with your co-authors. Rather, it is open your calendar and schedule a time so that you can meet with your co-authors. Then the other end is small tasks that you have been putting off. These are typically tasks that are tedious or maybe painful for you to do, and you just keep putting it off because you don't feel like doing it. Or you may be overestimating the time or effort to do that task. For example, you've submitted your IRB and the board is coming back with certain questions and clarification. And in your mind, you may think, oh, so much work, it's going to take so much time to do, and you keep scheduling a 2-hour block. But because it's so painful, you never get to do that part. The mistake is sometimes scheduling too much time to do that task. Why should you prolong the pain to do that particular task? So what you should do instead is to limit the time to do that task. And that way, it does two things. Number one, it shortens the pain period. And number two, it ups the challenge. And when you up the challenge, sometimes the task becomes more exciting. So I'm going to give you an example. When I have to send all these clarification questions, I set a timer for 20 minutes and I say, I need to answer all these questions within 20 minutes. Just by increasing the challenge a bit, you can finish the task a lot faster. If you want to know the mistakes that you should avoid so that you don't waste so much time in your project, watch this next video. I'll see you there.